What up? Since I got a little bit of time, walking down the street, got a little bit of daylight. Talk about a pretty random subject. Just can't, I'm just thinking what kind of talk about right now. Math. There's a couple of things about math I want to talk about. I don't have a whiteboard. I could show you some things. First of all, you could look up Marco Rodin's shit. Interesting stuff. There's a lot of ways to work with math that is very interesting. Math is like it's math. Math is modeling stuff, which is amazing. Quantities, physics, quantities of anything. And there's relationships between everything. I don't know, math is just interesting. But one thing I want to talk about was the relationship between numbers and things, units of things. And generally for anything, like in physics or anything, let's say measurement of size, you have units. There's multiple different types of units. There's meters, kilometers, inches, feet. There's multiple different units. So if you say one of what? One unit. What is that unit? Whatever you decide it to be. So everything has to do with units. But if let's say you say 2. What is 2 actually? It's 2 of those units. What is 1/2? It's 1/2 of those units. So really everything is a ratio or multiplication or division. It's a ratio, fraction or ratio of a unit when you're measuring stuff. So you say 100 what? That is what's super relevant to everything. And it's really just it's an arbitrary measure. And with science, certain relationships between like pressure and weight, things like that. Like just there's certain relationships between certain units and stuff. And with that, you can model like a whole fucking thing. Another thing that's interesting has something to do. I remember there was something. I think it was called. It has something to do with water and pressure and heat. Like if it's super high pressure, that can hold a lot of heat before it actually bursts to a boil. I forget what it's called. But there's some with the relationship of an exponential graph. I'm gonna try to show you the curve here. Let's say you have a graph. Here's the exponential curve. You know what an exponential curve looks like. Hope this ain't the wrong way. The way I'm looking at it looks like how I normally see it. It might be backwards when you see it. Anyway, exponential curve. Okay, so you got the y, x. X is time, always, basically. Y is the units going up. So when you have an exponential graph, you got the curve. Give me a sec. You got an exponential graph, you got the curve. And when you get up here, it looks like it starts going straight up. Like for each unit going across, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's say you go up from right here to here, you go up 1, you go up here, you go to 3, 5, and once you get to like 9 to 10, you're going up from like 15 to like 100. You see what I'm saying? Because you're up on that up curve. From between 9 and 10, you're going like super high. So for every unit of the same, for every unit of time, you're now going up like a way larger unit, or you're going up a lot more. So what you should do is switch to a larger unit. And if you do that, at this little, whenever the exponential graph's going like straight up, if you switch to a larger unit, you'll find it'll just restart at another exponential graph. And then right there, another larger unit. Instead of going straight up, it'll switch to another. And so that's just really an interesting thing. The streets are a lot busier than it usually are, maybe a lot busier than I thought it would be. No, but that's just an interesting thing I realized when I was thinking about, I was just thinking about physics one day. This is a long time ago, like 2009-ish. It had to do with the super saturated water, whatever the fuck it's called, with heat and before it bursts to a boil. There's some type of relationship going on. But I just realized that. I was like, wow, like, yeah, if you just switch to a higher unit, you'll see another exponential graph right there. It's what I called sets. And what I mean by that is like I said, if you have one curve right here and you get up on that up curve, whatever, you know, if you switch to another one, a higher unit, let's say you just go multiple tens. You're going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you switch to tens, you'll have another curve right there. You see what I'm saying? So right there, that first thing is what I call a set. It's really, I was thinking about physics and I was thinking about a certain pressure. And with that certain pressure, you would have a certain temperature range while it's still in a physical form before it turns into gas. You see what I'm saying? So I call that a set of values for pressure and temperature, and you know, keeping water in its physical form, or not physical, but you know, liquid form before it turned into a gas. So I call that a set. Like there's a certain set of whatever you want to call it. Okay, well that remember how I said it's always time? It's not always time. I'm talking about like right here. I might be talking about pressure, temperature. You know what I mean? So time's involved in there somewhere. But yeah. So generally speaking, like yeah, any of those, I call that a set. Like there's a certain pressure, temperature. It's keeping in liquid form. That's a set. There's a set of what's it called? Like a set of conditions? Yes, conditions that would allow things to exist in that form, you know what I mean? So I call that set. And there's different sets all over the universe. Like for instance, there's a relationship between size and weight, or surface area and weight, you might say. Or surface area and size even. Like for instance, an ant at the little micronic level, he could pick up like 500 times his weight or some shit. You can drop an ant a gazillion times his height. Like you could go to the top of his tree and drop an ant and he'll survive. That's like 3 million times his fucking height. You see what I'm saying? But if we jump 30 feet, that's like 5 times our height, and we break a leg. You see what I'm saying? So there's different sets in physics. Also, here's the whole thing with the physics. I was learning this back in the day. I'm like, holy shit. There is a definite there's a definite spectrum, like a definite spectrum of change going on. I mean, you could look at actual electromagnetic spectrum and figure that out, but generally speaking, there is a definite relative measure. Even if you have these units in it, there's still a definite relative measure according to these sets. And I was like, ooh, wow, like, you know, like I was tripping out about that back in the day, and I don't know, I guess it's just something I want to talk about while I'm walking around. That's still something I need to do some critical thinking on. But yeah, that's generally what some fucking shit I came upon. There was also a website that this dude made called EinsteinGravity.com. I was looking into relativity. And I remember I was trying to figure it out in my brain. I'm like, how the fuck is it even possible? I was thinking about a plane going, and they're talking about light bouncing between. If you don't know it, you don't know. If you understand, if you've heard of the experiments with light in a moving train and how light has a constant speed even in a moving field, and how that would cause some time dilation. I was trying to think of how that would work in a plane, and then I was thinking about not only going back and forth in the cab, but then also going left and right between the wings. And I'm like, dude, that's just not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. So I was like, I came to the conclusion in my own brain. I'm like, that shit's wrong. Like I thought it through like 100 times. Like there's no way it's gonna work. So I was like, I came to the conclusion. I'm like, I thought about it over and over and over and over and over. I was like, there's no fucking way that's gonna work. So I was like, okay, so that's not gonna work. So I started looking up on the internet. I'm like, okay, does anybody else? I don't even know why. I just came to that conclusion. I just literally came to the conclusion. I'm like, that's just impossible. That was my own critical thinking. So that's what I did. I looked up on the internet, trying to figure out if anybody else came to that conclusion, and I found his website, Einstein Gravity. This dude has like 1,000 fucking equations for shit. I'm like, whoa, dude, that's like a lot of shit. And I didn't understand the equation. I'm trying to figure it all out. He was talking about all these theories too. So I just started like speculating with the theories. He was talking about surface area of planets, or he was talking about like some crazy shit. I'm gonna tell you what he used to call it. He used to call it acceleration expansion. I'm not gonna get into that. But in my mind, it was relative to like a sphere that might be expanding, and as it expands, the volume of that sphere grows at an exponential rate relative to the surface area. The surface area grows slower, so you got a surface area going at a times 2, it's squared, but then you have the volume going cubed, you know what I mean? And so that's when I started getting into like this whole set, and I was like, oh, and then so there's these sets. I'm like, whoa, that's trippy. So like for any size in the universe, there is a set. There's a fucking. It's not just, you know, the conditions at a lower size are different than where we're at right now. If there were giants, they'd be living in like a crazy different, you know. So we live at a very specific set. That's basically what I'm trying to talk about. Is that smart? Somebody tell me. If you think it's smart, tell me. I don't know. It's just whatever. That's just shit I've been thinking. I thought about that shit a long time ago. Shit, I thought about that shit years ago. Fucking 09. It's fucking 2017 right now. I've been thinking about whatever. So yeah. So that's just something I came across. I just realized that there was. I used to just think the Earth would, you know, that's what Einstein used to say basically. It's all relative. He said relativity. And I used to be about Einstein. I did a little fucking project on him when I was like 3rd grade. And I became almost obsessed with him. And then, like I said, I was trying to do the fucking relativity in my brain. I'm like, there's no way it's going to work. I did it over and over. I'm like, am I wrong? Let me check again. And there's no way. So I'm just like, I just seen it. I knew how it would go, or according to their little fucking theory. And I'm like, that is impossible. So I said, that's just impossible. And I was like, anybody else understand this shit? Like, who else thinks this? You know what I mean? So that's when I started looking. And, but yeah, what else? So that's just some shit that I'll be talking about with, these sets. Like, so it's definitely not just, I just think it was all relative. Like, I don't know, but then I came to this fucking understanding somehow, some way, just thinking about it a lot. I was like, no way, it's not. It's like we're at a very specific set, not only with our size, but the pressure of the atmosphere, other shit. You know what I mean? We're at a very specific set of conditions that, you know, it just is what it is. You know, I'm about to bring it all the way back down to Earth right here, saying we're at a very specific set of conditions that allows us to live. You know, everybody's like, oh yeah, no shit, that's common sense, but. Just going back to what I just explained, it's a little bit less, you know, it's a little bit more expansive on the understanding. So yeah, so that's just something that just I found really interesting. You know, that there are different sets around that things, you know, that the universe is not just relative, but there are very specific conditions for, you know, I don't know. Hope that makes sense. Anyways, it's getting dark. You can't see me no more, so I'm just gonna almost at the place I'm trying to get up at this little end of the street. So hope you enjoy my video. Hope that makes sense. Have fun. If you can expand on that idea, great, awesome. If you're using any of my shit, give me credit, because I would love that. That would be great. Anyways, I gotta go. Talk to you guys later. Peace out. Love you guys. Love, love, love. Peace out. I was trying to create a new ending to my video, and that's the one I just came up with a few minutes ago. So, love, love, love. Deuce. Sounds good, right? Why not?